Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our second night during College Information Week. And this is our second session on athletics. I hope you've enjoyed the session so far and will continue for the rest of the week. But I'm pleased to introduce a colleague and friend, Coach Shawn Griffin. Coach Griffin just guided Hobart College's men's soccer team to its 9th NCAA tournament appearance. An outstanding motivator and recruiter, Griffin's been tabbed the 2008 National Soccer Coaches Association of America Northeast Regional Coach of the Year and has been named the Liberty League Coach of the Year 5 times. He's mentored 95 All Liberty League selections, including 2 Players of the Year, 4 Rookies of the Year, and his Chargers have also excelled in the classroom, earning 114 Liberty League All Academic selections. His student athletes have also earned 4 All-American awards, building the Hobart soccer program into a national power. Griffin's recruiting efforts have attracted players from across the United States and across the globe, from countries such as Chile, Guatemala, France, Germany, Netherlands, Scotland, Switzerland, and Sweden, only to name a few. It is my pleasure to have you with us, Coach Shawn Griffin.
Thank you, John. It's my privilege to be here, and I'm very excited to try and help some young men and families through the whole college process, especially as it relates to athletics.
I appreciate it. So I think the question that a lot of our students are asking, this program is going to be viewed by some juniors who are really just starting this off. And there might be a couple seniors there who are still making up their college plans. But if you were a student athlete, how would you advise them to make themselves marketable to colleges?
That is a great question. And I think there's several different ways. And again, when I answer these questions for all of you out there tonight, this is one person's opinion, but I've been coaching college athletics for 34 years, so I have a little bit of experience here. But I would say a couple of things. And first and foremost, with the academic reputation of McQuaid, be a strong student, right? I mean, that is probably one of the greatest pieces of advice. And I know young men hear this all the time, but being a really good student is going to open many, many more doors to all our student athletes. And first thing I look at when we're recruiting kids, truth be told, is what's their academic standing? What type of course load do they have? What is their GPA? It's things like that. Obviously, along the lines of marketing yourself as being a really good, talented student athlete. And as you are well aware, there's Division I, II, and III. So those levels can vary, obviously. And the truth be told, I always tell all my recruits that there is a place for everyone out there. There's over 400 Division III soccer programs in the country. So, you had basketball, you had swimming, you had all those sports to it. There's a lot of opportunity. But being a talented student athlete is certainly important. And I would say, when it comes to marketing yourself, also high character. I mean, that's one of the most important pieces that we look for is character. And it's really one of the most difficult pieces to peel back. But I will guarantee you that if you are a recruitable student athlete, that coach that is seriously interested in you is going to reach out to your college counselor. He's going to want to know, or what your attendance record looks like. Are you somebody that misses school? Are you tardy? We're talking about, just in terms of reaching out to your high school coach. What kind of teammate are you? Are you a good person? And I really, truth be told, in all my years of coaching, the highest character young men that I've coached are often the best students, and they're often the best athletes. And it's just kind of goes hand in hand. But in regards to marketing yourself in those characteristics pieces, that's what I would say. In regards to, how does somebody find me? How does somebody, how does someone find out about me? And there's several ways that we receive information from players. One is certainly you being a person that takes the initiative to reach out to the institution that you are interested in. And this starts with an email often. That's one form of being, marketable. And today I'm sure I have almost 20 emails from kids. It's a big time of year right now with soccer because it's showcase time. In regards to marketing yourself as well as identification camps, things that, and again, all sports have these ID camps that they have, whether they be in the summer, the fall, the winter. And that's a big piece as well. So getting in front of these coaches is really important. Sending emails is really important. Using the video process in some sports, right? Video is really important. There are some sports that, for example, golf, it's a score. A score is really important to be able to, a coach to look at that and say, wow, this young man is a 2 handicap, and that's going to help. But I really believe that, look, you have to be the person that drives the process. You really have to. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not an easy task. It can be undaunting, and it can be very, very challenging. And I would strongly suggest that the sooner, and I'm hoping that there must be some juniors out here that are and sophomores that are watching this, the sooner you get on it, the better chance you'll have of identifying the schools that you're interested and they being interested in you.
And Coach, if a student's interested in your place, you'll tell them what ID camps you're going to attend, right? You'll tell them where they can get in touch with you.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. So, for example, it's not always making the schedules, lining the schedules up so that everybody can be seen is not that easy, because we may have a camp on a weekend, and Syracuse may have a camp on a weekend, and Cornell may have a camp on the weekend. So you're getting pulled in different directions. But this is a true story. We have some young men right now that are seniors that are trying to find a home, that are good players, but we have to see them play. And I know for a fact that my good friend at the University of New Hampshire has an ID camp on December 17th. And I've told these young men that I will be there, go there, and I will see you play. And again, so not every coach may do that, but I think it's important for you as a young, candidate to ask the coach, I didn't see any ID camps on your website, but will you be at any? And most coaches will gladly share that with you.
That's great. What advice do you have for students and parents once they are being recruited? What should they be on the lookout for when they're meeting with coaches or going to do visits at colleges? What should be the things they keep their eyes open about?
Well, I think, what's most important is identifying what being recruited is and being on a mailing list. So that's really important. So, and you can often tell right away by the formality of the interaction, the letter, for example, the email that you receive. But, when this whole process starts, I think it's really important that both parents and student athlete are involved, because I don't know, again, how many students are actually paying for college. Families are paying for college. And I think it's a very, very expensive today, but a very, very important investment. And it's really important that, I'll just use examples of people I'm in my office right now. When mom and dad pop in the office with their son and sits down in front of us, it's usually because either we've identified them or they've identified us, and there's a level of interest in the process, in the academic piece and in the soccer piece. And one piece that turns me off right away is, I may have interacted with the student athlete, whether it be through a text or a phone call, which most often happens before they end up in my office. But it's when mom or dad dominates the conversation. And you really want to avoid that, truth be told, unless there's information you need to share because your son just doesn't want to share that he was the team MVP or that he was, a 4.0 student, which we often know that information anyway. But being part of that process is really important. And I think asking the right questions. And there's questions that, as a mom and dad, you're gonna want to know things, for example, financial aid, or things like, is there an academic support at this institution that's needed? Whereas the son may be more interested in, how many times a week we practice, or, what the schedule looks like. So I think it's important that throughout the process they are equally involved, but you got to know that fine line of, pushing back a little bit, sitting back a little bit. But truth be told, I like to meet with mom, dad, and son, because I also get a feel for what the family dynamics are as well. So that brings me to another quick piece, just to say, is like, it's really important to know that when you are sitting in a coach's office, it's a conversation. It's not an interview. It's a conversation. It goes two-way. So you may receive questions that, hey, tell me about your background. Tell me about your family. But at the same time, I want you to tell me, or ask me questions about, how I operate and what our program's about. The last piece I want to mention is, and I think you alluded to it a little bit here, is now that you're part of the institution, you're on a team, what role does a parent play there? And I'm gonna be very honest, because I feel like people don't always tell it like it is, but sit back, mom and dad, enjoy the ride, enjoy the experience. It's your son's athletic experience. And I have a daughter who is a student athlete here at Hobart William Smith, and I am a coach. So I get to be on both sides. And I can tell you, it can be frustrating and hard because you want your son to be part of every experience, win, lose, or draw. But let your son advocate for playing time. Let your son advocate for challenging situations where he has to explain things to a coach. But it can be hard, but I guarantee you the experience will be better if you enjoy it and take everything in about the process. The parents that you're standing on the sideline with, the interactions with the other student athletes. And that could be a whole nother Zoom, to be honest with you. But
well, Coach, it's actually completely consistent with some of the advice we've been giving in other sessions, which is, as parents, you've got to help guide your sons and daughters, but you can't take the lead here. You've got to let them take the lead when it comes to this process, because it's going to be there for your experience. And the more you can help them is great, but help them to take the lead themselves. Help me to understand if there's certain student athletes that are easier for you to recruit, that are pleasures to recruit, and some that are a little more difficult for you to recruit.
Yeah, I think the ones that are easier to recruit are responsible, to be honest with you. So like, I'm going to share real life situations with you. I sent a text message out to a young man that was identified to us by a very strong friend of mine that knows soccer, knows our level, and said, hey, this kid is an absolute fantastic player. Reach out to him. I don't think he's made his decision yet. I shoot a text out, and there's no reply back whatsoever. So I shoot another text message out, and I say, hey, I'd love to get on a call with you. I want to share with you what Hobart William Smith's all about, what our athletics are all about. And he says, I could get on a call on Saturday. Now this text was on Tuesday. I'll have some time on Saturday. That turns a coach off, right? Like, come on, how long does it take to get on a phone and have a 10-minute phone call with someone who's interested in you, has a great academic experience at school here, a great soccer experience? So like, find the time is my point. The players that are not interested because of whatever reason, that just turns a coach off right away. So like, my point is, if somebody reaches out to you, whether you're interested or not, like, let them know, hey, coach, I appreciate the interest, but unfortunately, I'm too far along in the process with schools X, Y, and Z. And that is so helpful, so helpful. So I think some of the most frustrating things that challenges us are lack of communication, lack of responsibility. Just reply, just say hello. Just say, unfortunately, I can't. I literally had an alum shoot me a text last night, John, who said, Coach, my daughter's being recruited by a number of schools. How do I tell some of the schools that unfortunately we're not interested? And I said, just be honest. Just tell them that you're further down the road with 4, 5, 6, whatever the number is, schools. And, if things don't work out, we'd love to reach back. Just like that. Right.
Sometimes honesty is the best policy when it comes
to
this kind of stuff.
Always. But the ones that are easy, those are the people that they take responsibility. They reach out to you. B, they're responsive with their timeline. Now, at the same time, you have to understand that you're one person that may have 5 or 6 schools. I'm one person that will have honestly 800 kids in our database that we've either seen or reached out to us. So it's very difficult for us to be able to communicate back to you in a timely manner. And that has all changed drastically since this little tool we call the computer.
Well, on that note, because of communication, I had a student come to me the other day and said, I don't know where I am on this coach's recruiting list. I don't know if I'm a high priority or if I'm a low priority for them. Do you have advice for students on how to suss that out, how to find out where you stand with a particular coach or particular program?
Well, you're going to know. I mean, I'm going to say it pretty simply. You'll know, and you know when you're being recruited when you have a coach that consistently reaches out to you. So again, I'm in a hotel 24 hours ago in Connecticut, and I am in my small window of time reaching out to 4, 5, 6 kids that we have continuing communication with, and setting up a call. I have a call at 5 o'clock tonight with a young man, and it's constant communication. That's how you're going to know if you're being recruited. And if you get this, if you go to an AAU basketball tournament and you get an email back and it sounds like it's just, hey, come to my camp, that's not being recruited. And in order to really navigate through that whole process, it's like anything else. Like, it's relationships. Like I mean, it's hard to explain, but like when you're wanted, right? I mean, your phone is blowing up, your emails are blowing up. That they're trying to get you to visit campus. That's what recruiting looks like and feels like. Now, at the same time, there's a level also, though, that you're trying to get yourself recruited, right? So you're trying to get yourself at a place, and if you're consistently reaching out to a program and you're not hearing back from that program, that probably means, and unfortunately, this is just my opinion, that program might not be interested in you, truth be told, and it might be time to kind of shift gears and move in a different direction, or ask for advice from Mr. Young. I mean, and again, just things like that are helpful.
Do you see big differences in the way Division I, Division II, and Division III are behaving at this moment, both in terms of the experience of the student athlete and how they recruit students?
Well, the athletes that we are dealing with don't have any issues with the NIL piece, right? I mean, kids at Hobart aren't getting pickup trucks like University of Colorado that are all branded with buffaloes on them, right? But in regards to the recruiting process, let me just say this: Division I, Division II has athletic scholarships, and the top Division II programs in some sports, there's not a whole lot of difference in terms of ability and talent in the top Division ones. There really aren't. Like 2 years ago, there was a Division II soccer program that probably was the best team in America, without a doubt. The thing about Division I, II, and III is that like, I'll be at a recruiting event tomorrow morning. I'm flying to South Carolina. I'll be at an event, and I'll be standing next to Clemson, and I'll be standing next to Lemoyne, and I'll be standing next to University of Rochester. And some sports, that's kind of the way it goes. The process is, it gets earlier and earlier. Like Division I, for the most part, are pretty much done. If they're a fall sport, they're done. They're done. They may have a spot, whatever, for a special player, but they're not. They're done because they have to be. Division II is similar to that. Division III, in terms of the recruiting process, there is a tier of programs that have the financial resources, that have the academic recruitable resources, where they can go nationwide and find kids, and they're still doing it. Then there's a level of Division III that is maybe a little more local, and there's nothing wrong with those programs. Their resources don't allow them to go on a bigger, across the country to recruit kids. But the process really is not any different. It really isn't. I mean, we're the talent level might be different, but the process is not that different. And it's just a matter of timelines are really important. Some schools, such as Hobart William Smith, we operate on, and we don't want our entire class, but early decision 1 and then early decision 2. Some Division 1 programs have got all their commitments done by August, right? So you really have to be aware of the process more than anything, I think.
So the sooner you start, the better when it comes to any of this.
100%. And I mean it. Like we have young men that are recruiting us right now that are sophomores in high school that are reaching out to us. Truth be told, yeah. And am I going to go watch those kids play? Probably not this weekend. I'm going to focus on, a handful of young men that have written us that are what we call them 2024s, right? They're going to graduate in 24, and our biggest emphasis will be on 25s.
Excellent. Give me a sense of this new phrase we're hearing a lot from our students, preferred walk-on, where coaches seem to be hedging their bets but not committing. What are your thoughts about that? And what do you think advice do you have for students when they hear that from a coach?
Well, it's preferred walk-on is probably the safest way for a coach to get it right or wrong and not be in a position where it's his fault. So in other words, like, in a situation as a preferred walk-on, we would say, look, we haven't seen enough of you. You really like this school. You really want to come to the school for all the right reasons, but I can't promise you a spot because we haven't seen you play enough. And so it kind of takes the risk out of the coach's hands where, like, look, I will give you a preferred walk-on opportunity if you want to come. But if it doesn't work out, I just want you to know it's not going to work out. And it's more of the risk, risk versus reward is more leaning towards the student athlete who says, okay, I love school XYZ. I'm going to get a great education there. I love the location. I really want to play a sport. The coach says he'll give me an opportunity. But what I would say is this, with a preferred walk-on opportunity, if that pops into your arena, get a real clear definition for what that means. Is it a one-day tryout? Is it, listen, we'll give you the entire spring where you can train with us, and then we'll make a decision on you if you're going to come back. For your sophomore year, we'll let you be part of the program if it's a fall sport. But I think it's a catchy phrase. It's nothing wrong with it, but I would be very careful. Like I would want to know what that means, meaning the length of time. Well, if I'm a preferred walk-on, can I be in the team room? Can I have access to the strength and conditioning? Can I receive sports med benefits if I get injured? Things like that would help.
Great questions. My last question for you. I've got a close for you, but this is my last question. I hear a lot of students who aren't necessarily jumping through the recruiting process, but are saying, I'm going to choose this college, and then I'll just go try to walk on to the sport. We've been encouraging them to get in touch with coaches rather than just waiting till they get there and assume they'll show up at the coach's door. Do you have thoughts about that, about the real true walk on that may appear?
Yeah. Well, I would back it up a little bit and say, if you chose that school, you better be going to that school because that's why you're at that school. Like the academic demands, the academic major, like that's like, don't put, I would never just go to that school. I'm going to try as a walk on without knowing why I'm really at that school, right? I mean, you're at that school because it's the next step in your life that's going to help you get a career, develop a career and move down the road. But those, truth be told, a lot of walk on. You better be talented if you want to be a walk on. Like truth be told. So like this is what I tell kids with us, with our walk ons. If you want to be a walk on, I'll every year. So it's my 24th at Hobart. I just finished. Every fall, guys that decide to come to Hobart William Smith that played soccer for a club team, for their high school team, I always have a walk-on tryout. Some years it's 2 kids, some years it's 10 kids. But what I tell those young men is this, like, if I'm going to take you, you have to be able to make a contribution. Like you have to be better than just the middle third of the group. So like every program has a top third, middle third, bottom third. And the bottom third doesn't mean that they're not good players, they're not good athletes. But like if you're a walk-on and let's say I have 30 kids and you want to walk on, you come to the school, I'm going to take my chances. And come September, let's say you're a soccer player and we have a tryout. If I'm going to take you, I'm not going to take you if you're just as good as like my bottom third guys. My bottom third guys are really good players. Like, why would I just add another body to the locker room? More food to feed. The table's not big enough to hold everybody. Like most coaches are going to take walk-ons that can help them. And I'll be honest with you, a place like Hobart William Smith, which is a wonderful school, it does not have a lot of guys walking around. They're going to change our program, which is a nationally ranked program. Stanford University, there's probably a good Division III team on that campus. That's how competitive that place is.
Absolutely. So get in touch with coaches, get honest answers. And if you're going to go walk on, make sure you're choosing the school for the school.
Yeah.
I
And not
appreciate
every
that.
school, John, is going to, it's like, they don't have to offer a walk-on opportunity. They don't. So it's not like, whoa, hey, I'm here. Like today, I got 2 emails from young men that want to know about playing next fall that are students here right now. And I told them, look, when the semester finishes and when you come back in the spring, I'll give you 4 or 5 practices with us. And if I don't think you're better than that top group I have, unfortunately, it won't work out. But like, I'll give you the opportunity, but you really have to be better than the guys that I have.
That's important. That's really important. All right. So my last question, and I appreciate your time today. This is really helpful
Absolutely.
for us. You've gone through this process many, many times as a coach. You've also gone through it as a parent. What advice do you have in general terms for our students and their parents as they begin their college search process?
Well, you said it earlier, and get an early start, right? There's never the earlier the better, truth be told. So if you have a brother who's a junior that's visiting campuses, and you have a younger brother that's an 8th grader or 7th grader or 10th grader, hop in the car, mom and dad, make junior hop in the car, and this process can be a lot smoother by having a younger sibling be part of it too, so that they have, an idea what's going on. But I think, this whole process, the sooner you start, it's so competitive. I don't think people realize how, like, Division III. Let me just say something about Division III. Division III is not intramurals. It's not club sports. We have my center midfielder this year that just made all region won a Big East championship at Seton Hall. So these are young men that are playing at a really high level. So the first thing to understand is, like, when you're looking at Division I, II, or III for an athletic piece, okay, realize that all 3 of those divisions are extremely competitive, and the time commitment that goes into it. Division III student athletes are lifting 3 times a week. They're practicing 6 days a week. And again, this is a fall sport. They're playing 2 games a week. They have academic demands on that half. Like, it's a huge commitment. So before you go down that path, like, you need to really know that you want to be a student athlete, whether it be Division I, II, or III. And the next piece of advice I would give you is, as a parent, is like, have an idea, like, what is a good fit. And that's where a resource like you, John, is. Like, trust your college counselors to say, look, I might not be an Ivy League student, but like the NESCAC or the Liberty or the Centennial or the UAA, like trust that person giving you advice, because there are so many really good schools in this country, but it's so competitive. So you need to have, whatever the number is, but like top choice, second choice, third choice, backup, and have that process. But then the last piece I would say is enjoy the process. right? I mean, I have a daughter, I have 3 children that have all graduated from wonderful universities, and one that's right now is a senior. And just, the people, the parents I interact with in my office, that that they just enjoy the process. Like, if it's just dad and the son going for a ride to Boston to look at a school, what a great opportunity. If it's just mom, what a great opportunity. So again, I think enjoying the process. Like, don't make it difficult. Don't make it stressful, even though it's going to be. Enjoy it and have fun, because hopefully you only have to do it once, right? Hopefully it's just, I chose this school. I like this school. This is where I want to spend my life, my 4 years. If I get injured, I still want to be here. And then, John, let me just say this last piece. You may sit in an office with a coach, and I'm a little different because I'll be very honest. Sometimes parents are really trying to make it work for their kid at the school because they want it to be there. And the thing that I always tell people when I make decisions on young men is, I want to get it right for you before I want to get it right for me. Because everybody, if you're going through this process, you have a plan, you have a vision. It's like, I want to go to, a big school in the South, or I want to go to a small school in the Northeast, whatever it is, I don't care. But like, make sure that you get it, like get it right. And a good coach, like I always tell them, like, parents are forcing it, like, he's really good. He really wants to be here. And I always say, like, I got to see him play because I want to get it right. Last thing I want to do is take the young man, put him on the roster. Oh, I got it wrong. He's having a horrible experience, calling home every week, transfers out. It's like, try to get it right. Try to
That's
get it.
huge. That's great advice. Shawn, thanks a ton for your time. Coach, good luck with the recruiting season and good luck. We'll stay in touch, please.
Yeah, you're the best. And you had a great institution there, man. I have so much respect for McQuaid, and it's just such a wonderful school and has such a tremendous reputation everywhere.
Thanks a ton for your time. We'll see you soon.
Okay, my friend. Be good.